200 books, 8 categories, and 3 lessons. Here it goes. First, life is simple, but we make it complicated. Atomic Habits. The whole book is basically 1% every day compounds to 37 times better in a year. James Clear spends 300 pages making you feel it, but the idea fits in that sentence, regardless of what you do, whether it's your health, your finances, or learning a skill. Poor Charlie's Almanac. Instead of asking how to succeed, ask how do I guarantee failure? Then avoid doing that. And that's it. Naval Ravikant's Almanac. Specific knowledge plus leverage plus time. 3 rebels only. That's his entire framework for wealth. Now these are 3 completely different books from 3 completely different people. But they're all saying the same thing. That the answer is actually quite simple. You just actually have to do it. And here's why that matters. Life is all about trying to exploit the compounding factor. And compounding isn't just a financial concept. It's everywhere. Berkshire Hathaway letters, intelligent investor, money compounds to build millions if not billions of wealth. But in skills, picked by Anders Ericsson and Flow by Mihaly, both show that expertise compounds through deliberate practice. You don't get good in bursts. You get good through consistent reps over years. Or in biology, The Blind Watchmaker by Richard Dawkins shows that evolution doesn't have a plan. It has one rule. What survives, survives. Apply that rule for a billion years and you get eyes, brain, and consciousness. Simple rule, insane result. And the same pattern can be seen in almost every part of the world, whether it's ant colonies, cities, markets. They all emerge from agents following simple local rules. Nobody designed them, they just emerged. So why do we complicate things? Life is actually so simple. With just a few daily habits and some simple actions, you can actually lead a very happy and fulfilling life already. Number 2, every single person is winging it. We hear success stories and we see the arc, the struggle, the breakthrough, and we assume that the person at the center had a plan for all of it. But the truth is that they didn't. Singapore's founding fathers built her from a third world port city into one of the highest GDP per capita countries on earth. If you read the biography, what you see is someone improvising constantly, adapting policy in real time, and making bets with no guarantee of outcome. Phil Knight in Shoe Dog nearly went bankrupt multiple times building Nike. The company that now does 50 billion a year almost died in year 3, year 5, and year 9. There was no master plan, just refusal to quit and to keep trying until something worked. Or take a look at Ben Howard, who wrote an entire book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And his central argument is that there's really just no formula. The hard decisions are hard precisely because no playbook covers them. You just have to make the call. So if the most successful people are winging it, what's actually happening? And one of the reasons for that is because luck is structural. In Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers, we can see that the most successful people in any field tended to be born at the right time, in the right place, with the right resources to put in 10,000 hours. Bill Gates had access to a time-sharing terminal in 1968 as a 13-year-old. Almost nobody else did. That wasn't really skill, that was partly due to geography and timing. And if we look further back on a larger scale, Guns, Germs and Steel shows that where your ancestors lived 10,000 years ago, the specific plants and animals available for domestication determine whether your civilization would conquer or be conquered. Pure geography, no agency. And Against the Gods by Peter Bernstein tracks the history of probability. We didn't have a mathematical framework for risk until the 17th century. Before that, luck was literally the gods. Every financial instrument we have came from humans slowly learning to manage randomness. So what do you do with all that? Well, I think what we realized so far is that we should just embrace trial and error, because that is what consistently works. The lean startup is just a scientific method applied to business. Hypothesis, experiment, measure, and iterate. Or what Maria Konnikova did in The Biggest Bluff. She went from knowing nothing about poker to competing in the World Series of Poker by treating the whole thing as a study in uncertainty. Skill is really just learning to navigate chance, not eliminate. And so here's why this matters practically. Because if everyone is winging it, you don't really need permission to start, or to succeed, or to fail. You don't need to wait until the plan is figured out. The plan never ever gets figured out. You just start, stay in the game as long as possible, and let the results compound. And this is where finite and infinite games also say the same thing. That compared to traditional games where we compete with other people, the goal in life isn't really to win, but just to keep playing. Third, making money is actually quite simple. This is one of the single largest category of books that I read, whether it's investing, strategy, entrepreneurship, marketing, behavioral economics, and from my perspective, what I've read led me to realize that it all comes down to three kind of mechanics. The first, value creation, which is essentially demand and supply. Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations suggests that specialization plus voluntary trade creates value from nothing. The economy is just people trading things they're good at making for things they're bad for making. That's it. Or in Zero to One by Peter Thiel, whose argument is that the money is a monopoly, being so uniquely useful that you set your own price. We can see that today with companies that has very strong branding or strong positioning in the market. We also see in other books like Competitive Advantage or Blue Ocean Strategy, where the idea is that positioning beats effort. Being in the right market matters more than working harder in the wrong one. And the next idea is about renting, which is about leverage without ownership. Don't sell your time by the hour, but build things that can work while you sleep. Equity, code, content, systems, all these are things that can scale without additional effort. The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss also suggests the same playbook, which is about renting other people's systems, whether it's fulfillment centers, virtual assistants, or software, to build a business without building infrastructure. And if we take a look at the E-Myth Revisited, the author argues that most small business owners don't actually own a business. They own a job because they continue to spend a lot of time working in the business instead of working on it. And the best example in the whole list is Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett built one of the largest investment vehicles in history using insurance float, which is other people's money held temporarily before claims are paid. He was renting capital for free and deploying it at returns most investors couldn't even reach. And finally, the last thing about making money is about arbitrage. In the book Freakonomics, the author highlights a lot of case studies about information asymmetry, where real estate agents, insurance agents, or sumo wrestlers, they all behave in ways that seem irrational until you ask, who has the information and who doesn't? The person with more and better information usually wins. And that's it. 200 books, 3 lessons. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.